So over here is where I'm going to put in some garden beds. Initially I'm going to have these marked out with these old boards that I've managed to source. Going to go with the no-dig method, where you put down the cardboard and then drop a whole bunch of compost on the top, and then you plant through the just plant straight into the compost. So I'm following pretty much Charles's methods from YouTube, so I will post some links to his stuff in the description. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 beds initially. They're 4 foot across and about 18 foot long, so it should give me a nice start. It's a bit late this year to do much planting, but certainly moving into next year they should produce a decent amount of stuff for me. I'm just going to fix them together with posts, stakes, maybe a few screws. Compost arrives in about 4 days, so we'll get them all filled up and set up then. The garden came with 1, 2, possibly 3 apple trees, which is pretty cool. We've got some nice apples here. Although someone's eaten that one. Who knows? And then over here we have a cherry tree, which is shading this area of the garden. So we're going to use this area for sort of a nice sitting area. There's the kids' play structure there as well, and then the chickens hopefully will go under here. So where it's shady, we'll leave it at least until the cherry tree goes. They don't last forever, and then I'll probably maybe expand the garden a little bit. So over in this corner we have 1 compost heap of a good size, which is already being used, and then the plan is to put in a bunch more compost heaps, like 1 here, 1 here, and maybe 1 here, and maybe also further up a place to put leaves, just to make leaf mould, because I've got access to plenty of leaves around here come the autumn. So I've got a bunch of reclaimed wood, so I'll use that to build some more compost heaps. Over here underneath the play structure, planning on waterproofing it and putting in the chicken coop area. You're allowed 5 chickens in this town, as long as you don't have any cockerels. So yeah, we're going to put chickens in here, and then that'll be nice and close to where the compost heap is, so when I scrape out the bottom of the chickens, we can put it straight in the compost. We can also get the chickens to eat stuff that you're not allowed to compost around here, such as pasta and cooked bits of food. So over at the back, most of the water seems to come down through this drainage pipe here, all the way down here, and then down into the ground, and then it runs under the ground following the grade. There's another one here. It goes into this stuff here, which I think they call French drain or something like that, and then it runs again down here, across here, and you can see the pipe exiting there. So what I'm planning on doing is to put in a big load of water storage right here, and then it'll be really close to where the garden's going in over here, and I'll be able to irrigate using rainwater, because at the moment it's all done on a sprinkler system, which is fine, but it just doesn't really sit well with me using treated water to chuck on the garden when we're currently putting away rainwater just straight down the bottom of the garden. Over on this side we have the strawberry patch, which we arrived too late to really do much about. They're not ever bearing ones. I'm not sure. I'll see how it goes next year, and if they don't really produce a lot, maybe it'll get switched to something else. Over this side we have tomato plants mostly, a few herbs, They were already there when we came in, and they seem to do really, really well here. We're certainly getting lots of tomatoes, like almost more than we can use, so we've been giving some away and swapping them for lettuce, which I haven't really got growing at the moment. What I'm thinking of doing is rigging it next year so that they actually grow on strings or ropes, and then fix the ropes up at the top here and have them running down, so you can lower the ropes as the tomatoes grow up. So if you pick an indeterminate species of tomato, they'll keep growing and growing and growing as long as you prune them and watch them. But you'll always have the tomatoes that are cropping kind of at sort of, I don't know, chest level, or at least easy to reach anyway. Over on this side we have a couple of tomato plants, but it's mostly flowers at the moment. I think I'm probably not going to do much in this area for the time being. Around here it's mostly like flower beds and stuff over there. We're thinking maybe we might get some raspberries in there and maybe bring some more of the flowering plants forward a bit. Again, not quite sure, but thinking about it. In terms of the pool, we're going to leave it as a pool for the time being. See how it goes. I mean, if it turns out to be like a big money pit and massively expensive and we're not using it, I have plans to convert it into like a really big sunken greenhouse to extend the growing season. I think that would be relatively easy to do. Just build like a structure over the top of it and have stairs coming down into the bottom. Might have to dig it out a bit more at one end, but I think that would make good use of it without having to fill it in. So inside here is where I'm doing the indoor component of the growing, using hydroponics at the moment. We got some spinach here, some Swiss chard. Over here we have a whole bunch of basil, probably a little bit too much basil if anything. Some seeds I'm going to put outside. Down here in this unit we've got mostly some pak choi, I think, or tatsoi or something, and a bunch of head lettuce that I've got in. There's some chicory I think I've got growing there. I'm going to bung another couple up there that I've got outside ready to go. Eventually this room will get converted into an indoor growing room, but this is just what I've got for starters at the moment while I'm getting going.